Alright. Testing, testing, un, deux, trois. Alright. Machine works. I do love it when the machine works. It is my favorite machine working. And now we play the waiting game. Alright, the time has come, as well as the stars. Welcome, Internet. Welcome, chat. Welcome, past, present, and future viewers. I'm Mordred. This is Stars and Chime, and I think I finally have some idea of what I'm doing, at least in the context of this game, because I'm pretty certain I'm at the epilogue. I mean, I've taken off my hat and everything. When we last left our heroes, we had saved the world by communicating with our friends after, a whole lot of not doing that. There's a lot of not communicating with our friends. But by the power of just saying what we wanted, and everybody going, wow, I wanted the same thing too. How magical is that? Everything's cool. And also I lost my hat somehow. But something real quick I want to show off that we didn't get at the end of the stream, and I only noticed when I went to went to close the game. Look, the start menu has changed. Everybody is happy. And Bonnie. So, my goals for this stream are to talk to every NPC, interact as much as possible, finish the epilogue, pray we get something from Loop by the end of it, and then finally close the book on In Stars and Time. Let's start with you. Dot. You don't recognize this person. Were they in the village before? Oh, hi. You're one of the saviors, right? Hi, Nashtafer. Thank you for your help. I stayed in my home while everything was happening with the king. I was too scared to come out. I thought that if I stayed inside, I wouldn't be frozen in time or anything. Which, was stupid, because everyone in Dormont got frozen for like a few hours. But now we're back, so I went out so I could party with everyone. I miss talking to everyone. I'm glad I can still do it now. And it's thanks to you and Mirabelle and everyone who helped her. So thank you for saving us. Genuine thanks. You escaped. My one weakness, genuine gratitude. Also, they blocked the exit. Stew! An empty bowl. Pew, pew. Some food. Hang on people's houses. Must be celebrating outside. Yeah, I figured not. Let's see. Fish. The fisher! Shh. The fish are back. Do not make a sound. Step back and let me fish. You silently nod and tiptoe away. The blind one hears you walking towards him. Oh, hello. Feels nice to hear people laugh again, isn't it? He seems peaceful. Hee hee hee. For once, her laugh seems genuine. I get it. I'm shy too. Shut up. I'm not shy. You're shy. I did not mean to do that. Pretty sure I'm not going to be able to go to any of these buildings, but like, what kind of RPG player would I be if I didn't check? So, I've heard everyone in Dormont has gotten flowers, or flower seeds from you at some point. And that you've even given some flowers to some of the travelers. I did. So, why haven't I gotten any? Oh, it's true. Their house doesn't have any flowers around it, does it? You know why. Oh, come on. How long will you hold that over me? I didn't mean to step on your foot this hard the last time we danced together. Oh yeah? Well, a dispute. You leave them to it. They seem to have stopped fighting. They're smiling and laughing with one another. You smile too. Hey, croissants. I say nothing about the croissants. Nature is healing. The unfrozen lady is wearing a necklace with uneven, weirdly shaped pearls. It has personality. I love it. She's looking at the necklace with tears in her eyes. This one. Why this one? There's the book guy. Oh, I hope housemaiden Mirabelle is okay. Ha! Mirabelle. Huh? Huh? What's that sigh for? Do you not like Mirabelle, you monster? She owns the 3rd issue of The Cursing of Chateau Castle. Yes, and? 1st edition. What? The one that supposedly has a misprint that foreshadows something that happens in issue 63? Isn't there only 10 of those in circulation in Valgard? How did she? She sent a letter to the publishing company that straddled the line between adorable and stern so well, the publishing company sent her a copy, along with an autograph from the author. Oh, housemaiden Mirabelle, you're so cool. They're now talking about their theories for the last issue of The Cursing of Chateau Castle. You shouldn't spoil it for them. You leave them to it. This is probably where the shy guy was. Heh, shy guy. Oh, hey! I can go in a building! My efforts are validated. Ha ha ha, yes! Valgard is saved. You know what this means? I need energy to go hug my now unfrozen sibling! Monagar, give me your scrumptious pastries! Smug one. Valgard is saved now, isn't it? I could go back to Poteria now, like I planned. Or I could stay here stay a little bit longer. For the pastries. Hey. Oh. Did you want anything? Sorry, everyone ate my whole stock. Turns out, knowing you're going to live makes people hungry. Hi. I helped Dad today. And you did a good job, too. And I did a good job, too. She's a big smile on her face. He seems happy. They're drooling a little bit. Even now, they are running in place, whispering run, 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 run repeatedly under their breath. This person's gonna kill themselves on accident. Story-loving shopkeeper. So, I'm glad Valgard is saved and all. But what the crab was that weird sky thing earlier? I have a theory. Do you know about colors? The weird shades people could see before, right? Yes. So my theory is, the librarian takes a big breath, about to explain their theory. I'm sorry, I don't actually care that much. Please forget I asked anything. I think I might write a book about this. People need to know. I think you should. I'm sure it will make the change god happy. Old lady, isn't it nice to sit down with everyone on the dawn of a new day? It really is. The daydreaming one seems to be thinking hard about something. Discreetly, you keep listening in. Madame, you've lived in this village longer than I've been alive. Do you remember if I ever had a sister? A sister? I'm not aware of you ever having a sister, but my memory isn't what it used to be. Right. I just had a nice dream, where I had a sister. Oh, is that so? What did she look like, this dream sister? She had very light shoulder-length hair, always in a bun, and she was always carrying this big bag around, saying that one day she'll travel the world and see every country on Earth. Hello, Fennec, have fun with Valorant, you poor soul. Yes, how did you know? I do not know, but somehow it's very strange, but I can see you having a sister. I can imagine it very well. The daydreaming one smiles. Hearing this makes me very happy. They're both silently looking at the sky, each in their own worlds. Alright, I believe I've talked to everybody over here. The talented one! The kid turns to look at you. Hi? The kid seems to study your face and breaks out in a big smile. Happily, they show you their drawing. You crouch. It's me and everyone. The kid giggles. Thank you for all your wonderful drawings. The kid huffs proudly and goes back to drawing. You smile. I swear there were less sheep. By like a lot, there were less sheep. Oh man, it's tutorial, kid! Erg. No, we're not gonna play rock, paper, scissors with you, tutorial kid. How can this be? Rock, paper, scissors is awesome. It's the basis of this world, of life, of... Erg. I swear, do you only know this one game or what? Yeah, tutorial kid. Do you know any other games? Of course I know other games. Okay, I don't know any other games. Oh. Oh. Do you want us to teach you how to play other games? We can play the cat game. We can give you a tutorial. Oh. I've always given tutorials to people. I've never been given a tutorial before. First time for everything, tutorial kid. No. The one who was given a tutorial kid. It actually changed its name. The one who was given a tutorial kid looks emotionally compromised. Yeah, me too, buddy, I guess. The kids are giving a tutorial on how to play the cat game. It sounds complicated. Are you too old to get it? Ah, Fortnite. Alright. Yep. Had to check. Can't go to the clock tower. Alright, I'm going to check Loop's tree one more time. And then we'll head back up and talk to the house NPCs. Favorite tree. Still have the flower. You guess it's yours now. Ah, a metaphor for self-love. Sifrin, did you give our thanks to Loop? Dot dot dot. Dot dot dot. Oh, did something happen? I couldn't talk to Loop. Oh. Aw, that's too bad. Maybe you can talk to them later then. And we can come with you, and we can say thanks too. Bon Bon. You smile sadly. Maybe later. Yeah. Psst. We will talk about this later, Sifrin. I don't want you to stay sad and not talk about this. You smile and nod. Are we good? Let's go back to the head housemaiden then. Wait, no. They didn't really give me a choice there. What if I wasn't ready? Friendship duel. This is not the one I was given. Broken doll. You hold the doll and look at the sky outside. You both made it. Clay. You make a tiny star. This chain really is massive, isn't it? You're sure you'll find a way to use it one day. Kinky? There's no hurry. Ding ding. Ding ding gang. Oh. Uh-oh. You should be careful with this. You throw it away before you hurt yourself. You were there all along, but still you return home. Dot dot dot. You won't go home ever again. But maybe you can make yourself another home. You can't wait. Ah yes, the mirror picture. You grip the picture and throw it as far away as you can. It's over. It's over. It's over. You're fine. You're fine. You're fine. If you're not now, you will be soon. Eternal snacks. You observe your pocket full of snacks in disbelief. There's some cookies, some onigiris, a lot of Malanga fritters. Did Bonnie slip them into your pockets when they hugged you? You smile. Closing your eyes, you pick a snack at random. It's an onigiri. This one has an apricot in the middle. Chomp. Alright. No, no. Oh no, I missed... That is scummy. So, because I talked to Loop, they've robbed me of... I skipped all of the castle NPCs. I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't have a save point to go back. Oh, well. I guess it's something for next time. Just sad I can't show it off. Yeah, because my last save was Act 6. Shame. Oh well. I believe I've talked to everyone about everything. Alright, it's time. Will we loop back? I can feel it. We both know this. It's all over when you talk to me. So, have you done everything you need to do? Ready? Take a step back. All right. I will talk to you soon then. Let me go. Heck you. Yeah, okay, J-Doodle, just because you're right, does it mean anything? Harumph. Just being thorough. That's the sun. Outside! You see an island in the distance, too. Alright. Guess it's time. Hurt. Ready. Wonderful. All of you, come closer. Come closer. You finished talking to everyone, so this is it, isn't it? The end of your journey once more. It's all over when you talk to her for the final time. Traveling one, are you worried? Worried? About what? About looping back? This is something I had, a very ever-present thought I had at work today was like, not only just like, okay, imagine you spent a solid year doing nothing but climbing this tower, doing nothing but going through time loops, battles, solving puzzles, right? Sifrin is not only like a honed blade at this point, like he is a very precise instrument towards the murder of monarchs. But he's also going to be incredibly damaged. His friends are going to start sentences the way they start. They had started sentences in the time loop are just going to have flashbacks. It kind of makes me want to write fan fiction, and that's not an urge I have very often. I'd always loop back when I died, and whenever I'd talk to you. You would talk, and then the loop would, whenever we'd talk. But why? Maybe because talking to you means our journey to save Valgard is really over, isn't it? And for you, Sifrin, it also meant all of us going our separate ways, doesn't it? The very thing the loops were trying to stop. Oh, so you think you might still go back? No, you won't. You're too exhausted, too weak, but what if... Nah, won't happen. So quick! But how do you know? What, don't you trust me? You'll be fine. You'll stay right here with us. Because we'll stay together for a while longer now, friend. We'll still be together for a while. And after that, we'll still be together, even if we're not. Plus, I doubt there's any craft left for you to use. You really burned yourself out earlier. My bet is that your little temper tantrum earlier used up all that energy from your wish. You might still be able to use some crafts now, although I wouldn't recommend it for a bit. But I doubt you have any energy left over for timecraft. You won't loop back. I'll super-duper promise if you want. You laugh. Yes, you know it's over. There's nothing to tell you otherwise, but it's still scary. It doesn't matter how much you know a thing to be true sometimes. It doesn't make the fear go away. We could, we could hold hands? Hold hands? Hold hands. Alright, Isabeau. Down, boy. Hold hands. If friend is worried, I don't know. It's just an idea. That way, even if you go back, we'll go back with you, right? That sounds right to me. Yes. Fine. Let's hold hands then. Odal takes Bonnie's hand. Head housemaiden. Oh, yes, of course. Head housemaiden puts her hand in Odal's and takes Mirabelle's also. Hee Isabeau? Yes! Mirabelle and Isabeau happily link hands. Friend, friend! Aww. Come on, friend! I'm smiling so hard my cheeks hurt. Bonnie's sticky hand, why is it always sticky? Grabs yours. Surf! Oh, the game hadn't made me cry yet. Shyly, you put your hand in Isabeau's. You feel warm. What now? The patient, tolerant expression of the housemaiden, my goodness. Well, if it ended every time you talked to that housemaiden, Sif, then maybe tell us a story, Madame Househead. That. Don't give people two titles, it's weird. Madame Head Housemaiden? Oh, what kind of story should I tell? A funny one. A cute one? A nice one. What about Belle? Huh? Well, everyone, let me tell you about the very first time Mirabelle made a classroom explode. No! Yes! You close your eye. The head housemaiden's words wash over you. Your head doesn't hurt. Your stomach is full. You feel Bonnie and Isabeau gripping your hands tightly, and there's no scent of burnt sugar. You feel the wind caress your hair. You feel nothing but the world around you. You inhale. It smells like fresh air and leaves on a sunny day. You smile. And scene. Bravo. My goodness, what a journey that was. I picked up this little Andy Darling game thinking it was gonna be... Yes, I would like to know how to see loop in Act 6. But I picked up this game thinking I was going to be done with it in the time it took me to do Ori and the Blind Forest. But goodness gracious, it has been such a wonderful trek. Something regarding a coin and a tree. Okay, I'll look into it in future playthroughs. But yeah, just... This is a perfect example of, I think, two things. One, you don't need a huge budget to make something special. Like, games are games. You can make them with anything, really. Like, thousands of years ago, a little man in a red hat captured the hearts of the world, jumping on mushrooms. But, like, the other thing this is an amazing example of, right, is how a video game can be used to tell a story that wouldn't work in normal medias. Like, don't get me wrong, there have been time loop stories before, right? I mean, every time I hear about a time loop story, I end up calling it a Groundhog Day genre, because that was my first experience with that kind of storytelling, right? But being able to really live through that in your own time, right? That's something you can only get in a video game, right? To emulate the feeling of being stuck in time. And you could do that, right? You can do that happens all the time in other medias, but the limitations risk becoming boring, right? Stars in Time did an excellent job in making sure that despite the fact that you were realistically just doing the same thing over and over again, it always felt a little different. And in places where it wasn't different enough to feel different, you could always just loop forward, right? And I didn't even need to do that much. Any game could succeed if 2 or 3 checkboxes are checked. Very broad oversimplification. Great gameplay, great story, great art style. Art style can also account for a lot of different things, like some games live and die by their soundtracks, right? And yeah, like, for the record, the reason I even picked up In Stars in Time was because the art style interested me. A little hand-drawn looking game with a main character that had a big old wizard hat and a monochrome color palette. Which I didn't expect to just be in-universe canon, for the record. I'm still kind of losing my head over that. That's such a weird thing to do. Incredibly brave. Like, I loved it. It's hard to say that there's an aspect of this game I did not love. I Won't Let You Go Home is a blinding banger. That's the song. That's the Sifrin's the final boss song, right? But yeah, no. Music of this game is fantastic too, right? I'm just saying, like, a lot of different things can go to art style. Crab, yeah. I think where this game like really shines, like that, and it isn't over, you say. Well, I was about to find out what happened if I hit continue. Oh, isn't it over? Teehee. Well, now we can look at this page. Isn't it over? Right? Every time they say crab, I thought of your Another Crab's Treasure playthrough. That was another example of a game doing a lot with a little. Definitely a little more than In Stars in Time. I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't In Stars in Time made on RPG Maker? Very, very humble structure to this game. And again, I just love that we live in a world where it's like it's easy to get very cynical about like AAA games and how a lot of games look so samey, right? But just passion projects can exist. People with an idea and a lot of hard work can just make something magical, right? And like, I didn't do it on purpose initially, right? But when I first started streaming, I wanted to do games that were either like lesser known or indie developed, right? It did just kind of start like a Souls-like stream. My first 2 games, I played Lies of P, and then I played Another Crab's Treasure, which were both Souls-like games. I loved them both so dearly. I love the Souls-like genre in general, right? But yeah, then Ori, then Me-Side, then Ori but again, and then with In Stars in Time. That said, I think for my next game, I want to go to something with a little more twist in the hips, a little more action. Something I can play the controller on and not the keyboard as well. Though I think this one had controller support. The point is, I got 2 hands again, and I want to use them. Like, really use them. I'll have to look into something, because I don't really have anything backlogged. I didn't know how long this was going to take. I I was going to feel blessed if this game took the length of the time of my surgery recovery. It has controller support. Excellent. Well, but yeah, I was, like I said, I was blessed to. I feel blessed that this lasted as long as my surgery recovery, and then it kept going, and it was magical every step of the way. But but yeah, I think the major strengths of this game, three things, and it's all in its storytelling. Right? This game lived and died by its world building, its characters, and the atmosphere of how it felt to be in a time loop, right? And it knocked all three of those things out of the park, right? Like, whenever I play a game with like a five-man band or something, I always develop clear favorites, and sometimes I develop clear unfavorites. Characters fall by the wayside, or I don't like them as much, right? But that didn't happen with Stars in Time. This game has five main characters, six. We're going to include Loop, right? And every single one of them I love, even Loop. And Loop was just straight up antagonistic at times, right? And I still want there's stuff about Loop I don't know, and I want to know, man. Like, I'm still not entirely convinced they're not like a copy of Sifrin in some way, right? There's so much evidence of somebody from Sifrin's hometown working at the house, that book, the fact that uh, even the eight, if you count the king, is both a protag and an antag, and Yuffie. It's hard for me to count Yuffie as a character. Like the head housemaiden, I mean, when it comes to NPC dialogue, she literally had dialogue you couldn't interfere with, and you tried, right? I'm not saying that devalues her. I'm just saying she was more of a setting, right? She was Princess Peach, right? But the king, definitely. Let's count the king as well, because learning about him was very important. Yeah, an endpoint. I don't want to call her just an endpoint, but like Princess Peach was an endpoint, right? Every time we talked to the head housemaiden, sorry, but the end of your time loop is in another castle, right? But I also like the king did an excellent job with their character writing as well, right? Because there's a lot of weight behind how you write villains nowadays. And a lot of that comes down to of like, okay, do you write a sympathetic villain, or do you write a villain who's evil for evil's sake, right? A truly bad to the bone villain. And I think in Stars in Time it had a really nice balance with the king, right? Because on the one hand, he was very sympathetic. He was sorrowful, like he's literally crying the entire time you're climbing the castle, right? He's got a wish, I think, even if most people can identify as foolish, can sympathize with. All of us have times in our lives that we wish we could go back to, that we remember with rose tinted glasses, and times, moments that we wish we could hold on to forever, right? And the king exemplifies that so well, but at the same time, he was irredeemable, right? You genuinely tried to redeem him, and his answer was to kill Bonnie, right? And I think that was good. I think I was actually somewhat prepped for saving the king to be the end of the game. And then he was a bastard. because yeah. And he also exemplifies one of my favorite villain archetypes, which is the ends justify the means brought to that thought's logical extreme, right? Anything, any cost, including torturing a child, was worth getting what he wanted to the king. And gosh, I could go on forever about every single one of these characters. If I had to like point out a weaker character, it would be difficult, and it would just come down to my own preference. Like, I think I would say the character that left the least impact on me is maybe Mirabelle, but I adore Mirabelle. She's so much fun. I love how she's teased by the party, how she sees herself, that journey of confidence she goes through. And like frankly, I like when we learned about Mirabelle's struggle with like coming to terms with the fact that she was Arrow Ace, and the fact that like parts of her religion might be influencing people in a bad way, those were very real struggles that I have had in my life, right? And I'm still kind of going through like I don't know if I'm Arrow, right? It's one of those things. But but yeah, just and when that is the weakest character in your main cast in my eyes, holy shit, right? And like yeah, just and she reminds me a bit of, if anybody played Tales of Symphonia, she reminds me a bit of Colette without the self-sacrifice. In that game, the main character was a chosen, pious young woman who was set to sacrifice herself to save the world. That's very much Mirabelle's story, but without the twist of self-sacrifice. And I loved the parallel of the Cursing of Chateau Castle and the and her, like the idea that Lord Josephander was just a guy. Mirabelle was never chosen. She was just the one that the housemaiden could bless, right? And I think that's such a great story, especially for somebody like her to learn as she's been under pressure all this time, wondering why she was chosen, and she wasn't, but she was still the right choice. Actually, the weakest character is Bonnibel. You can barely do quad damage numbers, except in Bonnie's personal quest where they do like 3k out of nowhere. I'm still kind of bent out of shape about that. But but yeah, let's talk about Bonnie. Bonnie was a character I was set up to be annoyed at, right? Bonnie had absolute child mascot uh energy stapled all over their forehead, and like I've played Genshin Impact. I'm already predisposed to hate that kind of thing, right? But they did an excellent job of balancing out the cute, wholesome, and bratty interactions of Bonnie with what it would be really like to have a child on the journey when you're this group of adventurers, right? I loved the moments where it's like, yes, we're all taking the time to have fun, partially for Bonnie's sake, but partially for all of our sakes, right? And Bonnie is a child mascot, but they she's also the sweetest little cinnamon Kremlin. Attitude is exactly preteen. Yes, they correctly wrote a child. Also, real quick, J Doodle, not just more of an informational message here. Bonnie is they them right here in their profile. Fennec had to point that out to me. I had made the assumption that they were actually a he at first. But yeah, um, like I said, they wrote a child character perfectly, and again, not just the impact of like, okay, we have to make sure that this child doesn't have a breakdown on our life and death adventure here, right? But we also have to make sure they understand the seriousness of the situation, right? Bonnie contributed in ways that they could, healing, support, occasionally sneaking a last kill. 3 out of the fine main cast not being their gender at birth is great. 3 out of 5. I'm missing one. we'll work through it as we go through the characters. Hold on, drinking some water. Sif not isn't their gender at birth? Huh. They're he, they. Alright, okay, full disclosure. What does it mean when somebody's he, they? Like, because to me that just means they're kind of indifferent about, like, their gender, right? Like, they're he, but also they're not going to be upset at being they. It's been a question on my brain that I just, like, I didn't know how to ask it. But yeah, Bonnie being a kid not only made for some really good writing. This is the most realistic kid as part of a five-man band writing I've ever seen, while still having the heartwarming moments that having a kid in that scenario does, right? But also, like, having that child humanize the rest of the cast too. It kept them grounded. One of my favorite interactions is the floor to dinner conversation, where everybody agrees very solemnly that if things go absolutely south, if it is the end, our priority is save Bonnie. And that is exactly how adults should be in that situation, right? And Bonnie's being upset and crushed by that and lashing out also makes perfect sense. Like, it was such a good moment, right? And so I was so set up to hate Bonnie, but I came to terms with the fact that, like, if anything happened to Bonnie, no one would survive the end result. Let's see. I want to check something here. So, you will stay together for a little while longer. And if we go to the house maiden, it's all you will stay together for a little while longer. But yeah, let's see here. Isabeau. Isabeau was definitely the character I was most intrigued by when the game first started out, right? And part of that was because, like, if I'm going to be completely honest, I was confused at Isabeau's gender. I had only their profile image to go off of, and then I had a conversation where I got the pronouns mixed up, in the sense that I read she as referring to Isabeau when it was actually referring to, I think, Odile at the time, right? So I was really predisposed to like Isabeau because I expected them to be a big muscle mommy, right? Which, I mean, I was half right. And in the right ballpark. But just him being the perfect himbo was such a wonderful thing to just have in my party throughout the entire journey. And also, like, the fact that, hey, Isabeau's trans, and this entire culture of Valgard is so trans positive, it's just kind of expected, right? Yeah, you might swap genders, you're going to change, and you might change back. That's fine. Change is sacred, right? And Isabeau exemplifies that, like, more than Mirabelle does, even. And again, that's part of Mirabelle's discovery journey. And I love how you can see both of him themselves in Isabeau. Like, he has changed himself into this big buff fighter who is outgoing, but you still see bits. Yeah, having two plus names, right? As many as 10 in case you change is great. It's okay. The game is great. Um, but yeah, Isabeau not only being that, but also seeing the bleed through of, like, yes, there's the heart of a blushing shy maiden in that big beefy shell. They're also a bit of a nerd when you get them on the right subject, but they have bad memories from how people treated them and as their previous self for being a nerd, and, like, hey, mood, I guess. And I really, really liked the conflict that Isabeau brought into the story basically by just being wonderful, right? The idea that Isabeau just couldn't confess to the point where even Dent Sif knew what Isabeau was trying to say. And then, with the power of being the only one aware in a time loop, tried to force the issue at multiple points. But then was hit with the conflict of, oh no, if he confesses like this, it's not real. It's not real because I've manipulated him. I've forced him into it. And there's a bit of an egotism in that. But when you're in this kind of situation, when you're the only person who remembers, you're going to get that egotism, right? You're going to get self-centered because everybody else feels like an NPC, right? And it's definitely also the second biggest screaming at Sifrin moment when, okay, Isabeau reaches out to you every time and then pulls his hand back. And then I'm like, go ahead, Sif, just move your shoulder into the hand. It's easy. And Sifrin jumps like 12 steps and goes straight for the kiss. And I'm like, my guy, I get that you're a tormented soldier at this point. But holy crap. You poor stupid fool, right? But it was such good conflict. And again, like, there's the time loop plot centric thing going on of, okay, that sucked. Isabeau shoved him away and Sif thought he ruined everything, so verp, time loop. They couldn't get to first base, so they tried to hit a home run. Yeah, they skipped even hitting the home run. They just started running before the pitcher threw. That's what happened. And there was no one else, and he was up to bat, right? But yes, Isabeau was just a wonderful star through the entire journey, right? And I dearly think that everybody would be much better off with an Isabeau in their lives, right? Whether or not that Isabeau was head over heels for you, notwithstanding, that strong center of positivity beaming in your life, everybody deserves that. And like another character who ended up being a bit like tepid in my brain, but shot right to my favorite character is probably Odile, right? Like she hits this niche interest of, I like it when characters are a little bitchy, right? Just not like Mean Girls bitchy, not like petty necessarily, though that's fun too. Just a bit of a crab, a bit of a crass, a bit turned off by the whole social interaction thing, and leave me alone. But Odile was also so much more than that. So much more than even just the mom group. Yes, a little tease, but never mean, never cruel, right? And what she was the straight man. She was the sarcastic response to all of the younger characters' bullshit, right? And the game needs that sometimes, especially when Sifrin or Isabeau go off about something typically stupid, right? Also, Odile holding the reins on all the party's brain cells, mostly because Isabeau is pretending not to have brain cells, also a great dynamic, right? But learning about her and her past and getting under her shell was amazing. And frankly, gosh, I think one of my favorite moments was when she was figuring out something was up with Sifrin. Like, that event in the timeline was maybe one of my favorites, right? But yeah, she shot right to my favorite character, and I think it's hard to pick, but I think she may have had my personal favorite quest as well, the side quest, just because of like how that went, the bit of humor involved. That might actually go to Mirabelle, my favorite side quest, but that's because Mirabelle also like resonated with me personally, right? And then, like, of course, Sifrin, it's you, right? I see a lot of myself in Sifrin, right? And he's designed like that. Most good point of view characters are just vague enough for you to self insert, but with just enough definition where they are their own person. Sif hits that sweet spot really well, and it, I think, created the proper response in the final loop where things started to go very, very wrong, right? And Sifrin was lashing out at his friends and using all that information he had, using all that information he had on his friends to viciously hurt them, go for the weak points, right? Because I empathized with Sifrin, saw so much of myself in Sifrin, and was able to put myself in his high-heeled boots, when he went off the rails like that, I was panicking. I'm like, no, don't make me do this. I don't want to do this. You're better than this. Please stop. Right? And like, a lot of people might get really upset by that, of feeling like they could self-insert and then having that ripped from them, right? But I think that was actually an excellent part of the greater metaphor that this game has going on with mental health in general, right? Where when you get to that breaking point, you do things that feel like they're out of your control, that this isn't you, and you feel like a spectator, especially in hindsight, going, why did I do that? Why am I currently doing that, right? And it's even got to be even harder in the context of a time loop where consequences feel so fake. I was genuinely surprised that Sifrin didn't just rewind after all of that, all of his quote-unquote screw-ups. In fact, complete disclosure, drink more water. Ah, when I was like midway through this game, I was planning how I was going to do my final loop, right? And this is the mindset I think the game wants you to be in, because it is the mindset Sifrin is probably in. Sifrin was probably of the mind of like, all right, I can fuck around and find out all I want on the loops, but once I'm sure I figured out the puzzle, once I'm sure I can get through the exit the loop and get the best ending, I better make sure I've done everything right, right? Do all the side quests, do all the little quests within the tower, like getting the promise earring where it's supposed to go, that kind of thing. Leaving the friend quest for last is something you managed to guess. Well, what I had guessed, right, is that the last loop would be more in my control, and that I would make sure to do everything properly, right? But I think the game makes the correct decision in ripping that choice away from you. Sifrin being stuck with the consequences of his lash out rather than getting the perfect ending makes more sense in context, especially with the idea of like, okay, not everything is going to be in your control and nothing can be perfect, but it also made their friendship stronger because he did that to them. He said horrible, borderline unforgivable things to his friends, right? And they still came for him. They still came for him. They still fought for him, right? They still said, yes, we forgive you and we want to continue traveling with you, right? And that didn't make everything okay. Mirabelle's very clear that, like, I'm probably going to be mad about this later and we're going to talk about it. But for now, I'm just happy we're all here, right? It made for a much more powerful relationship, which Sifrin needed. By the end of those time loops, Sifrin felt so alone. And I think anybody would. Again, you kind of start to feel like a god in that context. I have powers, I have knowledge that no one else can have. That makes me above them. That's part of why I think Sifrin started empathizing with the king so much. They were in very similar scenarios. I also like the king's ending. They didn't really have to do it that way, right? And it's interesting that if he hadn't ended up being frozen in time, he might be the key to start freeing that frozen country, because in the end, he remembered its name, right? But I think this is both a poetic and a cathartic end, and also, even he gets about as happy ending as he can, right? He living in bliss eternally, which was what he wanted, right? Very poetic. But it was also like he refused to stop before he could say its name, right? And in the end, he remembered its name. He didn't get a chance to say it, but it was with him in the end, right? So even the king got an ending that wasn't awful. I do wonder if Valgard's house is just gonna have, like, this frozen in time statue that was the king that nearly killed them all. Yep, wish granted, the universe is kind, it follows its own rules. Good gosh, though, that's actually kind of horrifying. A universe where if anybody wished for something strongly enough and with the right rituals, they could just get that. That's horrifying. That is a scary magic system. I don't like it. I also think it's very, part of the reason I was again drawn to this game is I think it was very cheeky that they said, "Hey, most RPG battle systems are just rock paper scissors. So what if it was just rock paper scissors?" And I'm like, I can't be mad at this. It's not even lazy. It's tongue-in-cheek is what it is. And I love tongue-in-cheek. I do. But yes, every single one of these characters was amazing. I am going to hold them very dear to my heart in... Yep, Sif Blep is back. They're all happier now. And Bonnie. But yeah, just this game has been so beautiful. I'm so glad I played it. And like, if I have something to be disappointed about, it's the fact that the next game I play is not going to be in Stars in Time. Alright? I definitely don't want to go back and immediately replay it. I don't want to be like an in Stars in Time only channel, right? And I've already spent 30 something hours on this game, right? It's time to move on. But maybe I'll come back to it later. I'll definitely come back in my own time to explore some of the things that I didn't get a chance. I mean, I understand being a downhill search for any games like it. It's a bit of a lightning strike, right? Like, this good of writing and storytelling with an understanding of game mechanics enough to take something that is very simple at its core and make it engaging, even in such a way where the game by its nature gets repetitive. And realistically, like, in Stars in Time also kind of uses its limitations incredibly well. There were a handful of older games, mostly Japanese, that were rogue-like mega dungeon games, right? Whereas opposed to a big open world, they just had a single dungeon that you go deeper into, and you reset when you lose, right? You just go deeper into every time. It was a way to pad gameplay without spending resources. And In Stars in Time does this with a time loop, which makes a lot of sense in universe, as to why you would go a certain amount of distance into the dungeon, die, and then be able to come back a little stronger, right? It has the perfect plot reason for that gameplay loop, and that gameplay loop serves the limitations of being an independent developer, right? It's kind of brilliant, if I could just call it what it is. And yeah, like I said, it's a lightning strike. Where are you going to find a game so pure of its own purpose, so well written, all contained in a tight little package that makes its limitations feel like features, right? It's not something you hit very often, right? Games of this quality, like Undertale comes to mind, Baldur's Gate 3 comes to mind, right? But they're not often. They're much, much more, Going Unders and Gator games than there are in Stars in Time, right? That said, I've been hitting home runs in my choices for this game for these streams. Like, all of my games were blind playthroughs, right? The only one where I was really following trends or chasing anything was Me-Side, right? Which was still great, right? I think Me-Side might be like the weakest technically of the games I played, but it's also the first horror game I ever played. It was a lot of fun. And also, apparently, me screaming is very entertaining, so there's that too. Uh, but yeah, I've yet to be disappointed with any of the games I've played on this channel, and none of them are like Stars in Time. And Stars in Time is very unique unto itself. That said, Fennec, I definitely recommend, if you have any interest in the Souls genre, Lies of P or Another Crab's Treasure are both wonderful. And if you like Metroidvanias, Ori and the Blind Forest is pretty damn good as well. I think maybe the weakest game, actually, as far as how much I actually cared and enjoyed it, might have been Ori and the Will of the Wisps, but I would never call that a bad game. I just think Ori was one and done. I think Ori existed best in itself, right? And I don't think a sequel hurt it, but one, following up Ori was really hard to do. Following up any game like that's going to be hard to do. And two, they changed too much, I think. Oh, I actually finished Omori on my off time while I was playing in Stars in Time in my one-handed gaming adventures. That game had me ugly crying at the end of it, is all I'll say. And also, I think the way Omori does its rock, paper, scissors system is brilliant. The emotion system as their element system is genius. That's my take there, right? But yeah, what was I saying? Right. Oh, gotta focus on the homework now. Talk to you later. All right. Glad you could see the end of the game with us, J-Doodle. Train of thought, I summon thee. Right. Ori and the Will-O-Wisp. It tried to be not Ori, right? I think is my problem with Ori and the Will-O-Wisp. If they had kept its core gameplay and just expanded on that, I probably would have liked it much better. But I did very early on that game start calling it Ori Night because it felt like Ori and the Blind Forest met Hollow Knight. And don't get me wrong, Hollow Knight is one of my favorite games of all time. But I wasn't going to Ori and the Blind. I wasn't going to Ori to play Hollow Knight. I was going to play Ori, right? And so getting less Ori while playing Ori Knight wasn't a bad thing. Playing less Ori was a bit of a letdown, if that makes sense. But yeah. I got myself a nice poster of Lies of P because it was the first game I started streaming. And honestly, I'm sitting here debating, like, once I get a little more money in my tank, I kind of want a poster of In Stars in Time, if I can find one. Hopefully there's a nice disc plate out there. But I think I have exhausted what I wanted to say about In Stars in Time. And sadly, there's not much of a tier list I could make for it. There's an art book. I'm not big on art books, but I'll look into it. This game's art style is so unique and interesting, right? But yeah, between the fact that like I streamed extra long yesterday and the fact that like I've beaten the game, I've said what I came to say about the game, and it's just all love, right? I think gosh, it might be my favorite game I played on stream so far. It competes with Lies of P, right? And that's saying something because Lies of P hit so many buttons for me. So many buttons, and there's going to be a sequel. I'm so happy. Anyway, by next week, I will hope to have another game in my chamber. That again, money is tight. I'll probably see what I have on my Steam backlog or what's on sale. Physical and digital, nice, nice. But for now, I think I'm okay with calling the stream early today and just wishing an incredibly fond farewell to this amazing experience. Like, goodness gracious. I'm still just, like, I've basically been in awe of this game since the end of it yesterday. I was thinking about it all day at work. I just wanted to come home and finish the epilogue. It's so wonderful. Thank you, Fennec. Alright. So, with that notion, I'm going to sign out. I'll be back next week with a new game. I have no idea what it will be. All I can say is I will be sad that it is not in Stars in Time. And unfortunately, I played Omori on my off time, so I won't be playing Omori. But yeah, with that, that's one more bridge burned after I've crossed it. I'll see everybody next week. Bye-bye. Take care, and remember, in this moment, you are loved. It's a wonderful line. And I hope everybody has so many moments where they are loved. And if you can't find any, remember to love yourself. It's hard, but it's crabbing important. Anyway, mwah! Good night, everybody!